Hi everyone, Lynn here, and today I have another organizational video for you. Finally, I'm showing you how I'm storing my stencils. For the longest time, I had all my stencils and page protectors in scrapbook albums, and I had accumulated 3 different scrapbooks, 2 large 12 by 12s and one like a 5 by 7 or 6 by 7, something like that. It was getting ridiculous because, you know, I was buying more stencils. I was receiving stencils through Flying Unicorn with the kits. And I was running out of room and it just wasn't working for me. So I'd seen a lot of videos from different people where they've actually taken their stencils and hooked them up on like the clip it ups, or they had them on wire shelving that they had in their room. But none of that was going to work for me. So I just don't have the room. I don't have the wall space for it. So I had to find a different way to work around it. So basically, what I've done is, this is a regular shelf unit that I bought at IKEA, and I've taken one shelf, and that's where all my stencils sit. So in my shelving unit, what I've done is I've added a rod, and this is a cold rolled steel bar that I purchased at one of the big box hardware stores, and it does come from the hardware department. This is a 1/4 inch bar. I'm using the 1/4 inch size because that's what fits with the hooks that I'm using. Okay. I have also purchased, these are closet made brackets, and they're made to hold the sides of the wire shelving. But this was perfect. They had obviously some smaller ones, but they're too small to hold the bar, to hold the weight of the bar, because these stencils weigh a ton. You know, once you have that many of them, it weighs a ton. So I purchased the large brackets and I inserted them into my shelf on the side. And what I did is I measured 6.5 inches from the back and then centered my bracket on that and then screwed it in. Unfortunately, I got that side right, but this side is a little off, so my bar is a little crooked, but that's okay, it still works for me. The other thing that I had to do, just those 2 things there, was less than $10. And basically it takes up one shelf space. Now it does, you know, you do have a lot of wasted space at the top, but it still works. You know, it's not hurting me in storage of anything else, height-wise. I have plenty of storage for that. So it was okay to lose, what, 2.5, 3 inches of space up at the top, just to be able to have the convenience of storing my stencils this way. Now, because I have so many stencils, my bar was actually sagging in the middle, and all my stencils were coming down to the middle, so I didn't want that. So what I did is I had a large cup hook, or plant hook, whatever you want to call it, and I just screwed it into the shelf above, and then using some thin wire that I had on hand, I went ahead and just wrapped the wire around my bar and then around the hook, and that's holding it straight for me. Now, one of the things that I should mention as well is that, and I will take pictures so that you can see what I'm talking about. Inside here, inside the bracket, it's a lot wider than the 1/4 inch bar. So I took a foam sponge and I placed it inside and then added my bar on top of it, so that I'm taking up some space and that my bar would not wiggle back and forth. Okay, I hope that makes sense to you. But I will take pictures and you'll see. And also, with my dividers, I did add the J-hooks. Hopefully you can see that. Might be better right there. Okay, I did purchase these on Amazon, and I believe that you can purchase them in quantities of 100, 1,000, quite a few different ones. If I think of it, I will add a link below the video so that you know how I did that. Now, if you choose to do something like this and you have stencils stored, whether it's in 8.5 or in the large 12 by 12 page protectors, and yes, I did put them in there because some of my stencils are more like a mask, like this one here. And some of them had very little space for me to glue my hook onto. So I decided to go ahead and keep the page protectors, and that also keeps them from getting all jumbled up together and, you know, little pieces like this getting caught on the next stencil over. So I did do that. If you do decide to do this, make sure that you start with your larger page protectors and find your center point and add your hook so that your center point is at the center of the hook itself. Okay, and then from there, go ahead and let's find a good one here. Go ahead and lay down your smaller page protectors about in the middle, and then you'll find the center. You don't have to measure every single one. Once you've got one done, you can pretty much play off of it, and you'll see that in at the end of the video where I show you how I made my dividers. It'll make more sense to you at that point. So I am using, like I said, I am using the page protectors. I have 12 by 12s. I have 8.5 by 11s. And somewhere back here, and I'm trying to stay out of the camera because I have a really bad sunburn and I can't even put makeup on. I have the 8.5 by 11, the divided pockets for the really small stencils that I have from Stencil Girl. On my page protectors, I did cut off the part, you know, with the holes in it that you stick in the ring binder. I just didn't feel that was necessary. I did miss a couple of them, but that's, you know, no big deal. But I did cut it off just because it was going to hang that much lower, and I didn't want that. I didn't want to lose any more space than I needed to. And obviously, I'm working off of how my shelf system is built. This shelf does not move. Every other shelf on this one does move, but this one does not. And you know, with the brackets for the next shelf up, I had to work with that, so that's the height that I have, but you could certainly make it, you know, less. So I do like that they're in the page protectors, and it just makes it easier for me, and I can remove the whole, you know, the whole piece right out. And I don't have to worry about it getting stuck on the next stencil. Also, I did make dividers, and I will show you how I did those. Now, originally when I decided I was going to do this system, I decided that I would store my stencils according to what kind of stencils they were. Geometrics, flowers, leaves, anything with words on it. That's how I had them stored. And I had labeled with my Dymo label maker. And after a while, I realized that I was so used to searching for my stencils by manufacturer that that really was not working out for me. So I changed. I had to remove my labels. And when I did, I ended up with, you know, torn paper underneath. So I just added washi tape on this end to make it so you wouldn't see that I tore the label off, because for some of the labels, you know, they're short, so it wasn't going to work out. So that's what I did. Really easy to do this, and yes, it looks like it's not centered. The hook is not centered, but the weight of the hook with the weight of the extra paper on this side actually keeps it centered. So that's how I did that. I'm really liking this system. It works really well for me because I know, for the most part, I know my stencils by company. So they are divided by company. I have a couple extra ones here and extra page protectors. They are divided by company. I do have a section that is miscellaneous. And in there I have, not that one because that doesn't belong there. I do have one-ups. So if I only have one stencil from Fancy Pants, I didn't need a divider for that. I only have one from Kaiser Craft, you know, magenta. I even have my rubbing plates in here. So that is working out really well. Also, at the very end, I have an unknown category, and that's basically because I don't know who manufactured the stencil. And those are pretty much stencils that I rarely ever use anyway, so they're at the very end. Everything else is, you know, set up by manufacturer. And that's working for me because that's how I know my stencils. Now, if you know your stencils mostly by, you know, categories of what it is, geometrics, flowers, whatever it is, then go ahead and do it that way. So stay tuned. I will show you how I made my dividers and how I actually lined up all my my hooks on my page protectors. If you have any questions or comments, just leave them below. If I don't answer you in the comment section, I will definitely answer you in a question and answer series, which I'm just getting ready to start. Okay, so for the second part of the video, I'm going to show you how I actually made my dividers for the stencils, stencil storage. So I started off with a piece of cardstock. This is it's been in my stash forever and a day. It's not even the one that matches. Sorry, my camera's having a hard time focusing. It's not even the one that matches the ones that I'm using, but it's pretty close. So we're going to use that today. I've also cut a piece of colorful paper 4 inches wide, and I've scored it in half. And then on the back side, on one of them, and just ignore this line here, about 1.5 inches in, roughly, I have made a line, and that's going to be where I'm going to glue. So I'm going to go ahead and put some ATG on there, and I have to turn it around. And it's not going to be perfect, and doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to go ahead and line up, and I need to actually stand up. I'm going to line it up on this side of that line, trying to keep my paper straight. Whoops. More like that. It's a little off. Don't glue down yet. More like that. Okay, so on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and add some ATG. I do put a little bit in the middle, just so that glues together as well. A little more right here. And just fold it over. So I'm basically left with a 1/2 inch, and I know it's a little off, but that's okay. Doesn't matter. I can always just trim this edge off. And then I went ahead and rounded my corners, and I'm pretty sure I used the corner chomper, the 1/4 inch side. And you can see I dropped mine, so I broke the wing, but it still works for now, so I'm not going to buy another one. So I'm going to go ahead and just line up my corner. Okay, and I didn't do a very good job on that one, so let's try that again. There we go. Okay, and let's move that out of the way. And then on Amazon, I needed to find the little hooks. And they actually, you can buy them in packages of different sizes. That's not going to focus very well. Okay, they're little, like J hooks. Whoops, I only need one. And they have a little piece inside that you just remove. Sticky side is right there. And so once I figured out one of the sizes, and basically mine is 6 inches in from the edge. Okay, you can see there it's about 6 inches. So I'm going to put the other one on top. This is how I did it. I found it the easiest way to do it was like this. Lift up my top piece, line up my little hook with the first one, and then just press it down. And that's how I did that. And you can see that it's, let me just show you with this one because the camera will focus better with the black. You can see that it's not straight in the middle. So the weight of this is balanced by the weight of this side. And I think I mentioned before that the reason that I have the washi tape on here is because the way that I had the labels on there before, and when I removed them to change my labels, I had torn paper. So that's how I did that. I don't know what these are called. I think they're called J hooks. I could be wrong. But if I can find them on Amazon, I will post a link to them. So that's it for the stencil organization video for today. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.